Welcome again to my course, Working in Child Protection Field. Our topic today is child protection factors. We often wonder about the main factors that affect children's lives. Is it the family, the friends, the community, the school, or what? Also, we may ask which factor has a bigger impact and how to deal with it. Knowing the answer to these questions is very important because this will help to provide an appropriate environment for our children and improve their safety and protection. We child protection workers should have this knowledge to provide the best possible protection services to children. So let's dive in. As we mentioned in a previous video, that a child can be defined as any human under 18 years of old, while community can be defined as a group of interacting people who live in a particular location, such as a village or an urban neighborhood or a city, and etc. It may be homogeneous or not. There may be different ethnic groups, different religious groups, and groups of different social levels. Now, let's see the factors affecting child protection. The first factor is the child's caregiver. A caregiver can be the parents or another person. The caregiver should have the ability to protect his or her child and provide the other needs. We mean the physical and financial abilities. Look to these two images. It would be difficult but not impossible for these two parents to provide the perfect protection and the other needs for their children. The physical inability would hinder that. Another point, the caregiver should have knowledge, which means enough knowledge on how to protect his or her child from any type of risk or danger that affect the child psychologically, physically, emotionally, and etc. Another point about the caregiver. Any practices with the child should not affect the child's body or the child's psychology or emotions. As you can see in this image, the caregiver of this child may has the ability and knowledge about child protection, but it is obvious that the practice was not correct. These are the three main points related to caregivers: the ability, knowledge, and practices. Let's move to the second factor, which is society. There are many points related to society or community which affect children's lives and protection, either positively or negatively. The first point is customs and traditions. Any society or community has its own customs and traditions. Some of these customs and traditions affect child protection positively and some negatively. We child protection workers should support, encourage, and improve the positive ones, and try to prevent or mitigate the negative ones. Values such as kindness, equality, freedom, justice, and tolerance, and their opposites, are swinging from one society to another, which makes children more or less protected from one society to another. Same thing with attitudes, which is the third point under socio-factor. Attitudes of society are different toward practices against children, such as attitudes against violence, abuse, exploitation, labor, and other child protection concerns. Some communities and societies take full responsibility and accountability against any misconduct affecting children's lives, while some are not. Some may encourage these practices. The fourth socio point is practices. Rates of abuse, physical, emotional, and sexual violence, as well as exploitation, labor, trafficking, and etc. are high in some societies, and vice versa in others, which makes the lives of children more or less protected from one society to another. These are the four socio-factors which affect child protection. Our responsibility as child protection workers is strengthening and supporting the positive customs, traditions, attitudes, values, and practices, and try to prevent or mitigate the negative of which. Now moving to the third protection factor, which is government role. There are many governmental points that can affect child protection either positively or negatively. The first point is laws, which means, are there sufficient laws to protect children in this country or in this city? Are they protective? Are they enforced and obeyed? And etc. The second point is standards, which means, are the laws and regulations of this country meet the international standards or not? The third point is child services, which means, are the child services available in this country or not? Are they sufficient? Are they effective and protective, such as health services, education services, child centers, playing areas, and so on? The fourth point is treaties. Wherever or any treaty that improves child protection or child life, the government should join and follow it. The fifth point is perseverance, which means, is the government keen and diligent to protect children and improve their lives and their protection by enforcing the laws, providing services, joining treaties, improving standards, and etc. The last point is commitment, which means, is the government committed to follow the laws, provide services, improve the standards, and join treaties, and etc. Does the government try to do that, or just pretends doing that, or not interested at all? These are the 6 main duties of any government, which cannot be done by child caregivers or by societies. The fourth point is the child himself or herself. There are 3 important points related to the child which can affect his or her protection positively or negatively. The first point is child's participation. It is important to let the child participate in making decisions related to his or her life, of course with consideration of the age stage and the cognitive level. The second point is child's knowledge. The more knowledge, information, and education the child has, the better he or she can protect himself or herself. I mean knowledge and information about what is right and what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. Also information about the community, about the society, and etc. The third point is the child's skills. The more skills the child has, the better he or she can protect himself or herself, such as communication skills, problem-solving skills, and the other life skills. Without these 3 important points, it would be difficult for the child to know how to protect himself or herself. The fifth point is monitoring and reporting system. In all countries, cities, villages, neighborhoods, and etc., the existence of child protection monitoring and reporting mechanisms can play a significant role in protecting children. These monitoring and reporting mechanisms should not rely only on government. It is the duty of families, community, service provider entities, and all the society members. The absence of clear and robust monitoring and reporting mechanisms where all the society members participate in will cause gaps and weaknesses in the child protection system. The last factor is recovery and reintegration services. Children who are survivors of any forms of neglect, exploitation, abuse, and other child protection concerns are entitled to basic social care and services without discrimination. These services must be provided in an environment that promotes the child's health, self-esteem, and dignity. Without such services, these victims or survivors may promote worse psychological, emotional, physical, and social problems, which may lead to self-harm or problems in the society. These are the 6 main child protection factors. They all work together. Absence of any factor will negatively affect the entire system. Anyway, regardless of the services we provide as child protection actors or workers, such as psychosocial support services, child resilience programs, case management service, risk education programs, and etc., which all are explained in the following videos, we can also improve the child protection systems, especially in the crises and emergencies contexts. And that's through building community-based mechanisms or building child protection committees, which mean A network or group of individuals at the community level who work in coordinated manner toward child protection objectives. These groups or mechanisms can be indigenous or externally initiated and supported, and can be formal or informal in its structure and performance. We can formulate these groups from our friends, families, youth groups, community leaders, community organizations, governmental entities, and etc. The activities of these groups can be monitoring and reporting everything related to children, supporting families in order to provide more social protection, intervention as risk reduce and to provide support where needed, also identifying child protection concerns and preventing and responding to those concerns. They can promote child rights. They can work on community mobilization, also linking committees, for example, linking villages to legal bodies in the city. Also, they can be engaged in emergency activities such as assessments, responses, and so on. And they can share learned lessons and best practices. I hope you now understand what are the child protection factors, how they work, and how we can intervene. Thanks very much and see you in the next topic.